All right, moving forward into our main topic, security tokens are here, Herwig. This is an exciting day, as we mentioned, because of the retail trading for T0's equity token, but it certainly hasn't been a short road. So when did T0 really first get into this, and how did they get here?
Before I do, Kyle, I think it goes without saying real quick, T0 is definitely our company of the week. I think for sure because of the historical significance of what's happening today, they earned that for the both of us. So I want to give kind of a brief overview of all the security token kind of trading that's happened in the past, give us an overview of why this is so historical today. In fact, the first example of any type of digital security token being issued was by T0 back in 2016, all of 2.5 years ago, where they actually issued that Series A preferred digital stock on their own private blockchain. This was such early days, of course. T0 didn't have a platform. There was no protocol or traditional security token focused blockchain for them to use. They just did it themselves, and to no surprise, there was probably little to no trading activity behind that. But now that's why they've developed the T0 platform in the first place, where they can move that token over and have it find the real compliant, efficient marketplace to be sold and traded on. But really, we didn't see much activity as they started laying out the groundwork until 2017, where on April 10th, Kyle, Blockchain Capital, a very well-known startup and fund in the space, issuing a security token. On April 10th, they issued the very first security tokens, at least so far, privately, and actually without knowledge, I guess, or without looking into it, it actually started trading. I believe it was on Ether Delta, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, that is not a compliant, regulated way of trading securities.
No, it's not.
No. So actually, it wasn't until September 4th that Securitize announced that they will be bringing the blockchain cap or BCAP token into compliance with their platform, which has been a great success because BCAP is now trading today on a regulated exchange, Open Finance Network. That was a sign of things becoming more legit, that there was actual technology to enforce this. It was with that hype and momentum around this time period that on October 16th in 2018, T0 closed a $134 million STO. It was at this point that they issued them to a custodial wallet where they were locked up. And not to be issued to the accredited investors until January. This is all part of the process that they needed to follow in order to qualify for Rule 144, which is what they're using to issue those tokens out today under their new non-accredited investor trading capabilities. It was also moving forward back a little bit on December 14th in 2018. OFN actually launched full-on trading with the SPICE VC token, another popular fund that had tokenized in the space, and BCAP and Lottery and many more going shortly after. So we've seen a lot of activity back and forth. We saw the announcement a couple weeks ago about the actual T0 Overstock, the Overstock token coming to T0. So we're seeing real activity, Kyle. We're seeing, over the past 2 years, slowly but surely, we had people make big pioneering moves where they issued security tokens. Some even, faced potential issues within the marketplace, but they managed to come into compliance. We see 2 full-on trading security token marketplaces, and with many, many more, as we know, expected to come live. So, it makes me think about your article. It really should be, 2020 is going to be the banner year of security tokens and security token marketplaces, because it takes time. We're all here on the bleeding edge, on the cusp, because we now all know that this week we can finally trade on T0. But the rest of people don't know that. They let alone even know that digital securities are out there available to purchase, whether they're from an institutional background or from a traditional retail background. So, looking over this history, Kyle, it gets me excited because you can sort of see it speed up. And now today we have full-on token exchanges, full-on issuance platforms, pipelines of tokens coming out, and the most important thing that we've all been waiting for, which is the volume, the activity of trading to begin. And now we get to watch it grow to, who knows? We all have different predictions, but the point is we can finally start to watch it. So I'm curious, Kyle, what do you think about all this history? How are you interpreting all this? What are your predictions?
I'm incredibly excited too. I am in full agreement that it takes time. I mean, the innovators in any industry have to pave the way for everyone else. And so obviously if you don't know exactly the right path, it's going to take longer, it's going to be more expensive. And so the fact that we're starting to see a model be created where if a company is looking to do this, whether leverage a security token for their equity, whether to define other rights or do a debt offering, the pieces are being laid down, the tracks are being set such that you can just kind of follow the same process and you don't need to face the same regulatory uncertainty, right? It seems like a lot of times that's really where a lot of these exchanges and issuance platforms and even businesses themselves, the toughest part for them has just been going back and forth with regulators, figuring out how to do it compliantly. Once we can figure out exactly what that method looks like, which we really are starting to define now, it's a lot easier for future companies to do that and allows for that expansion that we've been predicting for a while now. I think the other thing is that it does take a while because we also have mandatory holding periods. So for U.S. investors participating in a U.S. deal at the current regulations, you have to hold it for 12 months before you can trade that thing on secondary exchanges. So there's obviously going to be a wait time that causes this thing to be laid out, right? So once we figure out compliantly how to do this and replicate it over time, we then may need to wait another year before we see a lot of these great companies actually being able to exchange these things on secondary markets because of these hold-up periods. There's a 6-month holding period for international investors, and so Herwig and I have submitted our comments to the SEC and are always encouraging others to do so. But we've made a point to them that the 12-month holding period might not make a ton of sense, especially when international investors only need to hold for 6 months. And so potentially those will be shortened moving forward. But even so, a 6-month or 12-month holding period does require businesses to take their time with this process. So very excited with the infrastructure that's being in place. We now have 6 live security tokens in the U.S. here. So we're searching and building our relationships around the world, and the goal will be to consistently be able to show all of the international security tokens, because as we've discussed, it will not just come from the US, it will come from smaller countries like Malta or many of the others,
now
Seychelles or Antigua, but it may also come from large European or Asian exchanges as well that maybe end up jumping into the fray or allowing some kind of exchange licenses. So we definitely will show them all around the world, but just so that everyone's on the same page, we do have 6 that are live. We have T0 and their equity token, which we've spent plenty of time discussing today. We will have Overstock.com as well, so that will be number 7. I'm not sure if it's actually trading yet. The only reason I say that is because on the exchange portal for T0, the volume is essentially 0. So I'm not sure whether that means there's no investor demand or if it's actually just there's no volume yet on the exchange. So T0 and Overstock, eventually, certainly Overstock, once this dividend gets paid out, there will be much more of it to exchange. Then we also have 5 other security tokens, 1 that was mentioned, or 2, Blockchain Capital and Spice VC. So Blockchain Capital, we discussed already, as well as Spice VC. Lottery.com is also a live crypto or a live security token. They are LDC, Lottery.com, Crypto Universal is the business. They're selling their equity there, as well as I think future revenues for their online lottery business. We also have 22X Fund and Protos. So Blockchain Capital, Lottery.com, Spice VC, 22X Fund, and Protos are all on Open Finance Network. It's an exchange based out of Chicago. We've discussed them quite at length. And then T0 and Overstock will be through the T0 exchange. So yeah, it's incredibly exciting. We've seen the progress. It's been methodical. It has not been without purpose. It's just a lot of these things do take time in terms of getting the proper licenses, getting the proper regulatory approval, and finding the right issuers, because at the end of the day, no one wants to invest in bad quality projects. So I know that the onus is on a lot of these issuance platforms to try to find the highest quality deals that they can for their investors.
For sure. I think the key takeaway here is that it's here. Tokens are trading regardless of their caliber. The technology has proven itself. The regulation has not become an obstacle. It's happening. It's available. And, we only have so much more to see to come out from both a technology perspective as well as from a potential assets perspective to want to buy, as you pointed out. So I'm excited. I hope everyone listening here is too. This is really it. It's starting to gear up. It's been a slow first half to the year. But at the end of the day, the momentum is only going to continue to increase from here, especially with all the latest news of more tokens being issued, more, even T0 has mentioned several other projects that look like they're going to be listed, maybe hopefully within the end of the year. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of the second half of the year, and no doubt this shows that 2020 will be an absolutely banner year.
Very exciting, and so we just have to keep posted on it, and certainly you'll be able to listen here for all of the updates throughout that process. We are not going anywhere. We post once a week, Tuesdays, 8 a.m. And so, the important things that we try to cover are the news in the beginning and what's gone on throughout the industry throughout the week, and then talk about new issuers and the actual performance of these tokens, certainly as we start to move forward, and discuss how the markets are performing. So it's very exciting, and there's a lot more content that we'll be able to review moving forward now that we're really starting to see some secondary trading activity. So it's very, very exciting, and we appreciate you all for listening. As Herwig and I have mentioned before, if you have any articles or you have any insight you want to share with us, you can reach out to us. I mean, Herwig, you're super active on LinkedIn. You're always, connecting with people and having great conversations. I'm very active on Twitter. You can reach out to me there. My DMs are open as well. And certainly post your stuff on stomarket.com/news. That's where we source our information from. So we appreciate any feedback, and tune in next week.
Thanks for listening.